Hello, today I've got quite an exciting video. I've got a new PC, almost a full PC. There you go. It's got not one but two Intel Xeon X5675s. The stock speed is 3.066 gigahertz, and I've got two of them, obviously, in a dual socket Intel motherboard. The motherboard came with 24 gigabytes of RAM, which I have replaced with 12 gigabytes of RAM, and it refuses to run at 1600 megahertz, but it'll run okay at 1333. So there's the motherboard. It's a Intel S5520SC. It's a pretty crap motherboard. I've currently, for a graphics card, got a PNY GTX 580 in here, as you'll see when this loads. There you go. Completely stock at the moment. I haven't really done much to the system really. So first thing we're going to do, classic test, we're going to run Cinebench. I'm going to leave CPU Z and core temp open for you, so you can see the kind of temperatures I'm getting with this system and the speed that it boosts to as well. There you go. Now, as you can see, we've got 24 threads, so we have 24 little squares going around, and they go around pretty quickly. You can also see the temperatures are exceptional on the stock coolers which I've got on. It's not your average stock cooler though. It is the best Intel one. Now, as you can see, I've got 1376. It will actually get around 1450 if you run it in real time and all properly, with the proper efficiency and everything. But you have to leave speed step enabled to get the boost frequency, because unfortunately if I disable speed step it stays at 3.066 gigahertz all the time, whereas as you can see, when I'm running now with speed step on, it should boost up to 3.2 gigahertz, and it's actually boosting up to 3.33, which is even faster. There we go, it's gone down to 3.2 now. Usually it stays around 3.2 gigahertz while it's going, and there you can see it's got 370. Again, not a brilliant score for this system. I'll do a quick run of 11.5 here. Now, I got this system off Gumtree, so I've only just been to pick it up this morning really. I'll give you a look around it in a second. I'll also run a couple of GPU benchmarks on it as well, so you can see the physics scores. Maybe Firestrike or 3D Mark Vantage. Probably 3D Mark Vantage actually, because I think I've got the license key for that and I haven't got this on the internet yet. So as you can see, 15.8 won 3 points. It's a fairly respectable score. What I didn't mention before is, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but below there's actually an 8-core Sandy Bridge Xeon, which I was testing the other day, and that managed to get 12.45 at 3.2 gigahertz, just over. And this is scoring 15, but obviously this has got 2 CPUs and an extra 4 threads and an extra 4 cores. I suppose it's got an extra 8 threads actually. So there you go. It's pretty impressive. Now I'll give you a look at the system. Spin you around. Let's put a light on it. There we go. Right then. So as you can see, or can't see maybe, I don't know. We'll start from the top. So in the top bank of memory slots, I've currently got 3 2GB sticks of Corsair dominated GT. In the bottom slots underneath there, I don't know if you can see, just in there, I have 3 sticks of 2GB G-Skill Perfect Storm. Unfortunately they aren't hypers. The coolers on the CPU, so the Intel 1366 stock coolers, I don't think these actually come with the Xeons, but obviously someone's bought these separately at some point, and they're pretty nice. They've got 4 heat pipes, decently sized fans. They don't actually move that much air, and because they haven't got a shroud around them, they aren't very efficient fans for static pressure, but they seem to cool the CPUs very well, as you can see at stock. And underneath that we've got the PNY GTX 580, which I've only just put in. I haven't actually tested that in here at all yet, so it's good that that's working. And then in the very bottom there, I've got my Superflower LeadX 1300 watt gold power supply. And the reason why I'm using my Superflower opposed to my Be Quiet power supply, which I usually use for benching or rigs like this, is because I needed 2 8-pins for the CPU, because there's 1 8-pin up there and 1 8-pin over there, one for each CPU obviously. So yes, now this case is pretty nice actually. It's got some good features. It's got all these drive bays in the front, one of which I am using, which is 2.5 inch. I don't know if you can see that there, but I'm just using a crappy laptop drive, which is my bench drive. As for fans, in the very top, which you can't see, up there, if it'll focus, up there there's a 23cm fan. And then in the front, just here, there is another LED 20cm fan, which actually has red LEDs, which is why I have it turned off. The fan's turned on, but the LEDs can be controlled separately by a little button on top of the case. If I just move the tripod a second, you can see the front of the case here. I have cleaned it up a bit. I'll just take this off. There we go. There you can see in the front there, red LED fan. And then up here I've just put a 140 in all of the optical bays, which is kind of pointless, but there you go. I'll just put that back in here. So that's about it really. I'll do some GPU tests next. I've done the CPU tests now. I've actually decided to do one more CPU test to show you. This is W'32M. Now normally you'd run this on just 1 to maybe 8 threads. So I'm just going to show you how long it takes with 24. And it's done. That's it. 3.307 seconds, which may actually be a record. I'm not sure. That's a personal record, by the way, not like a record on hardware bot. Now, funnily enough, I've just had a look at my previous screenshot while I just paused the video for a second there, and that is actually my fastest time on W Prime 32M. So I'm going to take a screenshot of it. Who knew that I'd get a record, a personal record, live on video? It's quite impressive. There we go. Save that. Super. Right, I shall now move on to 3D Mark Vantage, but first I'll put a bit of an overclock on the GPU so it's a bit more interesting for you, so that we get a few more FPSs. Okay, let me think. I think this card wouldn't go over 900. We'll run it about 2100 on the memory. Okay, we'll try. I don't think I've ever run Vantage on this particular 580, so we will have to see if it crashes or not. Here we go. Now I think I have the full version enabled here, so we can do this in either, we'll go on performance, why not? Now the loading times might be fairly long because I'm running off that crappy hard drive which I showed you earlier, so I might skip this bit of the video and maybe fast forward it a bit. So, as you can see, it's finished Vantage. It's managed to get a GPU score of 27,055 and a CPU score of 35,481, which is quite impressive. Managed 82 FPS on GPU test 1. 76.71 or 17 rather on GPU test 2, 5,100 ops on test 1, and 42.46 ops on test 2. It's a pretty high score, is that? Now the GPU got to 89 degrees Celsius, which is quite toasty, I have to say. But it did manage to keep the full speed all the way through the benchmark, which is impressive, but it did get up to 90 degrees Celsius almost, which is very toasty indeed. And the fan speed only got to 74% as well, which is strange. It did get quite noisy during that as well. I'll do Valley benchmark as well, even though this isn't really affected by the CPUs that much. But it would just be interesting to see what it does score. So, there you have it. Managed to score 1502, which isn't amazing for a 580 to be honest. You're better off using a Haswell or Skylake system for the Valley benchmark, as it is quite single thread based, although it's not 100% single thread. Now, just as a last little thing, I'd just like to show you a task manager with all however many cores. Actually, I'll just run R15 in the background. So there you go. You can see all cores 100% load. It's pretty impressive with the 24 little squares. You don't normally see that on any other system, I have to say. So I nearly forgot to put this in the video, but I have actually now done a test with the side panel on, as you can see. This fan here isn't actually plugged in, so there's only the two front fans and the fan in the top. The side panel's been on. It's been going for quite a while, as you can see in Task Manager. 100% on both CPUs. And as you can see, I've just got it running Valley at 720p, so the GPU isn't on 100% load all the time, but as you can see it's still around 84 degrees, which is pretty toasty. And the CPU has reached a max of 71 degrees on the hottest core, and on the front CPU it's only got to 58 degrees, so even with the side panel on, these coolers are still doing a really good job of cooling. And yeah, as you can see there, it's doing the CPU Z stress test, and as you can see I've got a 5960X there as for reference. Now obviously that's stock at 3 GHz, and these CPUs are still boosting to 3.2, which is really good. But they are faster than a 5960X at stock, which is quite nice. And it's still going. So that's been going for half an hour. I just thought I'd put that in at the end. Oh, it has actually reached 72 now on the hottest core. But that's been going for about half an hour, and I think the thermals and acoustic performance is pretty good really. And I think that'll be it for this part. So I think that wraps it up for this video. So I'll see you in the next one.